Okay,
Well,
great. Thank you very much. Well, welcome everybody, those here in the room and those who've joined online. As ever, we will begin tonight just introducing ourselves. So I'll start off, we'll go around the room and then we'll move online. So I'm Ed Hoyle, I'm chair of SACRE and I'm a humanist on the Other Faiths panel. Pauline, would you just mind?
Oh, Pauline Egan. I work for London Borough of Newham and I'm here clerking on behalf of Dental.
Thank you. Ellen, do you?
I'm Ellen Kemp. I'm a governor, school governor in Newham and the Church of England panel.
Claire?
Claire Clinton, I'm the advisor, just trying to get some power to my computer.
Thank you. And online we have, I'm going to work my way down the names on the screen. Ruth?
Good evening, Ruth Everett, representing Church of England, and I'm the Diocesan advisor.
Azan?
Azan Akbar on the teachers panel.
Amar?
Yeah, good evening, everybody. Councillor Mavedi, London Borough of Newham. Thank you.
Sarah?
Hi, Sarah Heath, and I am on the teachers panel.
Jill?
Hi, I'm just observing today. I'm a Newham youth champion for the Church of England. Thanks.
Welcome, Jill. Lucy?
Hello, I'm Lucy. I'm also on the teachers panel.
Asma? You're still on mute, Asma.
Sorry. Hi, I'm Asma Hussain. I'm a teacher. I'm on Other Faiths panel representing Shia Islam.
Sakwat, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, good evening all. Apologies for the delay. Am I audible? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hear you.
Yeah, okay, thanks. Yeah, so I'm Sakwat Ali, a school governor for Plashet, local authorities. Thank you.
Thank you. Marie?
Hi there, I'm Marie Hardy. I'm on the teachers panel.
Akhtar?
Evening, everyone. Akhtar Rauf. I'm representing the Sunni Muslim here. Thank you.
Okay, I think I've invited everyone I can see. If there's anyone else online who hasn't spoken, introduced themselves, please do so now. Okay, I think that was everybody then. Great, great. So in terms of the order of business, we have the agenda in the pack. The only thing I'm a bit unsure of, Claire, is you had some exciting news. I don't know when you wanted to,
Yes.
to do that.
Well, Lucy knows this. I'm not sure if Sarah knows it, but I think she does. And Azan knows it. So there's a few of us who know it, but I just thought the whole of SACRE should know that we've won a London-wide Interfaith Award. And for our work with student RE matters. And we have won £500, woohoo, and a swanky meal at Wimpole Street, which already sounds slightly posh to me. But if I tell you where, and we've been told we've got to dress smart, at the Royal Society of Medicine. And from 6:30 to 9:30. So Katrina and I are going to go to that to receive our award. And then Lucy and Katrina are going to a networking lunch where we get to meet lots of other people who might be interested in our work and potentially funding it in the future. So anyway, we've never won an award.
That's
so
really nice.
Ta-da.
Well done.
I think that's more surprising than the fact that you won it. That was the first one. Well, I think congratulations are in order, especially to you, Claire, and to everyone else, Katrina, Lucy, and everyone else who's contributed to Student RE Matters over years. And it's been great in the past having all the student members turning up and talking. Amar, would you like to say something?
Yeah, just on behalf of everybody here, I think I just want to say congratulations to everybody involved. I know I've only recently joined, I suppose, the Sacre cohort of people here, but I think that's testament to all the due diligence everybody's put into. So I just want to say thanks a lot to everybody involved here. It's a great achievement and well done on that, because I think as a local authority, I always mention and I speak highly of Sacre in terms of what Newham's doing. And I think other local authorities are starting to recognise that, and reward and recognition is a key part of actually showing the demonstration of everybody involved and what they're looking to commit and do here. So I just want to say thank you very much to Claire and everybody involved here. I think that's a really good achievement. And Claire, just a quick question. Is that going to be put out in terms of comms to everybody in the newsletters, and what's the game plan? Because I think somebody in my role and capacity would want to spread that message as far as wide as possible. So what's the game plan so I can start telling people?
Yeah, so I'm definitely going to be telling Annabelle Bates tomorrow. As you know,
brilliant.
we've had, well, as Amal will know, we've had a sort of 3-week Ofsted scrutiny around SEND. So Annabelle only emailed me for the first time, or Chetna's arrived, only emailed for the first time this week to say, I'm back. I know I've got to catch up with you. I know there's a lot to do. So I will email her tomorrow and hopefully get to talk to her on Friday or tomorrow, Amar. Once I've told her, then I'm going to put something into the head teacher newsletter. I'm going to send something to the mayor. And then I will formally send something to Sacre, and then you can shout it loud as far as I'm concerned.
Thank you very much. That's much appreciated, and well done once again. Thank you.
Great. As far as the order of business goes, I think we will stick now to the rest of the agenda. We've got quite a few apologies for absence from Anne Easter, from Joshua Garfield, Simon Stephen Saxby,
and
Aisha Sheikh.
Apologies for lateness. She's
and I've got another one in my diary, sorry Pauline, which is Joe Mathias, who's part of the teacher group. She must have emailed me because I've noted it in here.
Taranum, Afshan.
Taranum and Alexia.
Great. Declarations of interest. Does anyone have any interests that they need to declare on this agenda?
No.
No. Maybe one day.
I sometimes have to declare stuff, but apart from me, no one else ever seems to declare anything.
Right.
Ruth?
Yes, Ruth?
Yeah, I think I should just declare that I'm a joint chair of ARIAC, which is a national RE organisation, and I'm also a trustee of a charity as well. They're things that have RE interests, so.
Okay, thank you. Then on to the minutes. I'll take the minutes as read. I'm going to make Anne Easter's usual correction. Under Forum of Faiths, her name is spelt
Annie.
Anne Easter on Forum of Faiths. Her name's misspelt in 3 out of the 4 places. But yeah, she normally makes that mark herself, as it happens quite frequently, but she's not here. Now, does anyone else have any comments or corrections they would like to make to the minutes?
No, I thought they were fine.
And I don't think there are any specific action points.
Pauline, there was one thing that I was discussing with Meherin Lisa, which is, can we have it in our forward plan? Every July, NSACRE send out the invoice for NSACRE membership and the webinar, which I think together is like £160.
Yes. I've raised the PO today.
Thank you. We always get to this point where we haven't paid it. So there's this lag between it going out in July and not getting to the right person or so. And then because I sit on the exec, I get a list of the naughty LAs that haven't processed, and we're there every year. And then I come back and it always gets done, but it gets done very late. And I just think there must be a way that we can get this so that.
Oh, well, I'll email them, the person in the email trail, and I say, copy me in.
Yes.
In July.
Brilliant.
It will get done.
It'll get done. Thank you. I just knew there would be a way.
There is.
I struggle with NGA payment, with national governors.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah. Anyway, that was the only thing.
Right. Thank you.
Payment.
Agenda item 5 is Forum of Faiths update, which Anne Easter normally gives. So I don't know if
We've got a whole range of things coming up with a number of different celebrations, haven't we? That the council is putting on. I don't know if Amar knows anything more than I, but there are dates definitely around Diwali and sort of Guru Nanak's birthday and things. We got an email, didn't we, from Newham?
I can quickly do a quick update on behalf of Anne if needs be.
Great.
I know there were some previous celebrations that were put out by the council. I know one of the big ones that's up and coming, as Claire mentioned, is Diwali's up and coming in Bundi Shor Divas, which is celebrated by the Hindu and Sikh community. Those will start taking place next week. So guidance from like the 30th, well, some people might celebrate on the 31st or 1st of November. And then you've got guidance for around, everyone will get an invitation come out from the mayor as well for Guru Nanak Gurpurb, which is normally going to be landing on the 17th of Sunday. So most people are celebrating it then. And same again, an invitation will go out to the wider consensus of everybody. And then as we move on from there, you'll probably see a few more activities that come on and invites come out to people. So those are the most upcoming ones for the next few weeks. And obviously, if anybody's missing invitation, do let me know, and then I'll probably maybe put it in the chat for now. I can send the brief image of the Diwali program. I can post that in the Zoom chat for everybody's reference for now, if that's helpful.
Brilliant. And we also have a civic carol service happening on Friday, the 13th of December. So we've got Diwali, Bandi Chor, Guru Nanak's birthday, and a carol service. I think it's at St John's in Stratford. But when I've got more details, I can send that out to SACRE, just so we know what's going on in terms of interfaith. We've also got Interfaith Week that's running from the 10th to the 17th of November. We've been doing a lot of work with schools around that. Lucy and I were flagging it up with the secondary leads a week and a half ago. We were flagging up last week, Taranum and I, with the primary leads last week. And there's lots of resources on a website that we've given them. And the theme this year is really nice, sharing my story, building our communities. So that thing of listening to somebody and through that listening, building hopefully empathy. So if those of you who are teachers, if you have anything going on in your schools, the Faith and Belief Forum are very interested in case studies or any images. You may know, you may not know, but the Interfaith Network funding was ceased by government last Easter time. A number of organisations have come together, including the SACRE, the National SACRE organisation, Faith and Belief Forum, a sort of peace organisation, some other interfaith national bodies have come together and sort of put something together so it didn't drop off for schools or communities this year. But hopefully next year, we will find funding again comes from government, and it may be a different sort of body that's set up, who knows, but the idea was to keep it going this year. So Amar, all of those new events definitely ought to feed in the pictures we should be feeding in our pictures, into sharing our story, building our community. So.
Right. And item 6 is Student RE Matters update.
Lucy is here and she has a PowerPoint, I think.
I do have a PowerPoint. Can I share my screen?
Yes, sorry, I'm just
Permission.
Yes, you can.
Perfect. PowerPoint. There we go. Can everyone see that?
Yep.
Can.
Yes.
Perfect. So this is the project that I spoke about in our last meeting. Let me make it into a slideshow. Here we go. There we go. Okay. So as you know from our last meeting, the project's called My Community and Me, which kind of interlinks with what you just said about Interfaith Week, actually, Claire, thinking about people's voices and their communities.
Yeah, we
and
could send in some of our winning photos, actually, couldn't we?
That's a really good point, yeah. So it was called My Newham, and it was getting them to think about their own community, what they see in their community and how that kind of links with them and their identity. And they were exploring that through photography. So our first session, which I spoke about in our last meeting, was actually with our local photographer, Meg Khan, who's an ex-Plashet School student. And she kind of talked to us about symbolism in photography and where to look for meaning. And then from then on, we kind of visited lots of different places of worship, and in each session the students took photographs and they interviewed religious leaders. I've updated you all pretty much up to this point, which was our last meeting. In our last session on June the 4th, we went to these 3 different places of worship, so the mandir, a synagogue and a vihara, and students again took photos, but they also in this meeting looked at kind of an overview of all the pictures that they'd taken during their unit, and they chose their kind of favorite pictures that they wanted to kind of exhibit and display and use within their schools. And then they started to think about how those images can be used for a wider audience and how they can be used within their school environment to kind of share the project and share their learning. So they started to write some questions about their pictures and getting other students to think when they see them. I'm just going to show you some examples of what they came up with. So this is when we went to West Ham Park. And then they've chosen this image, and you can see if you look closely enough, they're doing little heart symbols with their hands. And then these are some of their kind of almost kind of philosophical questions to get other learners to start thinking. So is it always right to love everyone? Is love stronger where it is shared? So that's what they came up with. And then this is from our visit to the Gurdwara.
Pradeep's not here, but that is Pradeep, part of Sacre, isn't it?
I think he'd recognise himself. Yes, so that was who do you turn to for advice, which I think is a really interesting question. And then this question, because it's linked to obviously the Guru Granth Sahib, the holy book, asking, is ancient advice still worth reading today? So you can just see the different images that they selected and the kind of key kind of thinking questions that they came up with. And we tried to show you examples from each of the different places that we visited. So what the students will do with that now is up to them, but we're hoping that they will use them in lessons, in assemblies, and kind of share their learning so that other students can kind of gain from their experience. And it also helps them take on leadership roles and practice kind of other skills like presenting and feeding back within their school environment. In terms of what the students themselves who are part of our eMatters group this year got out of it, this is some of the feedback that we got, which are kind of student quotes. So things about kind of understanding different religions and worldviews, getting to visit different sacred places, thinking about diversity. Sorry, I've skipped through that. Thinking about the fact that stereotyping can be subconscious, and thinking some students just talking about the fact they found it interesting, well, kind of what they were learning and working with others. So this is a nice quote, I think. Religion is more diverse than Newham. Different religions can live together peacefully with cooperation. So that's the students themselves who are part of the group's feedback about their project this year. And that links really nicely with an introduction to what we're going to be doing for RE Matters this year going into 2025. So we're focusing our student group this year on a Challenging Stereotypes roadshow. So it's a slightly different format. Well, actually, it's a very different format to what we normally do. So we normally have a group, it's about 10 students approximately from each participating school, bring their students to St Bond's, and we have a meeting, a termly meeting, where we go, half-termly meeting where we go to different places of worships, or we do different kind of workshops around whatever project we choose for the year. But this year is really different because we're actually going into different schools themselves. So we're basically going to be taking a previous project that we did in 2022 and 2023, which was called Challenging Stereotypes. And from that student work, we created a toolkit of lessons and films and ideas. And we're taking what the students have co-produced and we're making that into workshops to teach a wider audience of a wider amount of students about stereotypes, religious stereotypes, and how to challenge them. So what's really nice about this year, it's actually us going to be moving around, not the students. And we're going to be visiting lots of different schools and taking this kind of roadshow on tour, if you like, the Newham tour of the roadshow. We've got some new schools which we're really excited about this year, and we've got some schools we've had previously participate in Student RE Matters, come back to us, which is really lovely, because I think it's fair to say, Claire, that after COVID, it's been sort of quite a long journey to get a lot of schools back.
Absolutely.
This year's really encouraging, and I think it shows we're definitely getting there. We've got Chobham working with us for the first time, so we're really excited about that. We've got Kingsford, we've got Little Ilford, we've got Lister and Rokeby, and these are all schools that we've either never worked with before or have previously, but haven't for several years. And that includes our kind of more stalwart schools that we work with every year, like St Bond's, like Plashet, like Azar and Kuwait.
And Stratford. So we'd got down to 5 schools really, hadn't we, Lucy, that were really committed to this work. So just trying a different approach.
And so we've managed to we've been successful in getting into those schools this year. So we're hoping those partnerships will continue through the next number of years. So that's our general update on Student Sacre. I don't know if there's anything else you want to add, Claire.
Just 2 things. Last Friday, I led a workshop at RE Exchange, which was a very big RE conference with 500 delegates. So I led it on our toolkit. And I also did a workshop on it in the summer at the Advisors and University Lecturers Joint Conference in Birmingham. And we've now so Bristol University is quite interested in doing some research into outcomes from what we've done. And we've actually got somebody who's either doing a Farmington or a research project on using our toolkit, because they want to see again what it does in reality. So we've got it as a free resource on the TES. We've had thousands of downloads of it by teachers. But obviously we're not producing any training for anybody of how to use it, because that then takes some funding, but we've put out what we've done. So I think it's interesting that we do this stuff in Newham, but it does go wider than Newham, and we're always trying to put our stuff wider than Newham.
And what is TES for members of the public?
Teacher Educational Supplement. It's the teacher newspaper. Sorry, Pauline, very good question.
Yeah, and it's really good that that Chobham are joined, because as a school that was never a local authority school, the fact that the message is getting through, I guess a school that wasn't typically part of the networks, is great. I think that's triumph. So.
Yeah. I mean, it's also a triumph at Chobham because everybody does GCSE now, and that wasn't the case a few years ago. And I helped them a bit with general RE, and then we've moved over to GCSE RE, and I was in the summer helping them to set up A-level. So they've now got students that have come through the GCSE that are now wanting to go on further. So it's quite interesting how that school has developed.
We did do a visit.
We did. We had a SACRE meeting there.
Yeah, and
That was when they weren't doing any RE.
and then I watched their RA session, their collective worship.
Collective worship. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
Yeah. It's a long, long time ago.
Discussion about that.
When Jeremy was chair before Marie. There you go.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you, Lucy.
Thanks, Lucy.
She's done very well. So she's done very well to come. I'm sorry, she's been off it poorly today. I did say she didn't need to come, but a bit like Marie, they're all still coming.
It's absolutely fine. Nice to meet you all again. I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
And you have to
And if
remember that
it's-
Marie's hardy as well.
Marie is hardy. That is true. Hopefully she's giggling in some room with her camera off. Thanks, Lucy.
No worries.
Thank you. Then agenda item 7. And Claire, you've put together some tables on the engagement we're getting with the various schools, primary and secondary.
So this full document, I don't know, those of you who are online, you're not going to be able to see this, so you're just going to have to trust us. Because when Marisa printed out our agenda pack, what happens on an Excel spreadsheet, it will just print the one page and you have to then ask it to go to another tab to print another page. So I said, oh, could we have the whole thing printed out at the meeting? But what we did for the first time this year, and what I'll do is I'll go into my emails when I finish talking and I will send it out to all of you so that you've got the spreadsheet, everybody.
Yeah, of course.
And then those of you online will be able to see it.
It was on my online pack.
Oh, was it?
Yes.
It added? Oh, brilliant.
Added.
Okay.
I think Veronica sent it out twice.
It was printed it.
Brilliant. Okay. So you just need to open it and find it. But I just thought it was interesting maybe for you to see exactly who turned up to what last year. Now, this comes with a rider. Just because they weren't there physically doesn't mean that they didn't watch the recording.
This is why I got query.
Okay. So there are lots of schools, for one reason or another, don't turn up to things. But I know because they've asked for the recording and then I send people the recording. Now Georgina and I have got to work out a new system because Georgina is logged by who has booked with her, if that makes sense. So then she doesn't know about the ongoing conversations that I have. So we've got to refine, but this is our first go. Okay, so it's our first year. Open to questions now.
What time do you hold the meetings for?
The primary network meetings are from 2 to 5.
Right. That may be the problem why people can't. If they can't get
The secondary meetings, which are much worse attended than the primary, are from 4 till 6.
Yeah. But they ought to be. Because my head, well, I was horrified like you, because at your meeting when I'm chair and they had no attendance, and she said, I've got it. So I'll have a word with you.
And also to say that some people do say, we're not going to do these meetings at all this year, but we'll be back next year. Some schools do biannually coming to things and opt out because that saves them a bit of money.
It is.
And budgets are very tight. Yes. There are some schools like Bobby Moore, I got into once, but that's it. I can't get anywhere. Chobham, sort of Cleves and Boleyn Trust do their sort of own thing. They don't tend to buy in, most of them. So Kensington, not Sandringham. Anyway, it'll come to me. Monica buys in.
I know, because
and New City buy in, and others don't. So there's all sorts of abnormalities. Yeah, but it is interesting, isn't it? Just to look through and see who's coming to what. And also last year for Monica, the person was on maternity leave, so they didn't buy the package last year because they knew that RE.
Yeah.
So there's stories that go with data. Ruth.
Yeah, I knew that about Monica.
Hello, I was just wanted to sort of reinforce the importance of perhaps tracking the recordings, especially in the light of staffing and budget controls, as you've already mentioned. So I think that will really show the impact wider. And I also felt from viewing it that it's probably the areas of interest that that school or that area are concerned at the moment, again, with that pressures of timing on teachers and commitments. So just to reiterate, yes, let's find a way of checking who's accessing recordings. Thank you.
But one of the things as well with the discussed last time was about making sure that schools were really aware of all the opportunities. And this is potentially a great tool because you can go to those schools that maybe aren't engaging much and say, you turned up to this one meeting out of, this is the whole calendar of potential meetings that were there, and you came to one or two, and there could have been loads. So this could be quite useful, I think, trying to drum up a bit of engagement.
I think as well, I mean, I'm sharing this with you, but remember the LA does not provide any of this training.
Yeah.
So this is my company, what we put on.
Yeah.
So schools do not have to come to any of this.
Yeah.
And it costs to come. It costs a small amount, but it does cost something to come. And that is because the LA 15 years ago, as you know, stopped providing any CPD for schools. So, this is the end of that. Some subjects then stopped completely. So history haven't had a network for 15 years. Geography haven't had a network for 15 years. There's all sorts of places subjects that don't have networks because of that decision 15 years ago. And to be fair to the LA, the money was no longer given to the LA. It was given directly to schools. So schools could choose what to use that money for. It is not ring fenced, so it does not have to be used for CPD. And up till now, the present government has upped the money going to schools to pay for salaries, but schools have had to find that money for salaries and jobs within the total budget where things, pay increases and things have been given, but the DFE money hasn't gone up at all. And so you often find the CPD budget is being used to pay for teacher or a teaching assistant to help with SEND pupils. So I'm not having a pop at schools here. I think we should look at this very positively to say there are this many schools in that environment that are prepared to pay to have some support around their RE. What schools get from the LA is once every 5 years, a day of training. That's what the LA provides for our schools.
Okay, you've got two hands up.
That's an interesting context. Chetna.
I was just saying that can we not make one more column saying recording and who's used the recording? That's all I was going to say.
Yeah, we've already done it for this year. It's just we didn't think of it last year. It was our first time of doing it. So, yeah.
Amar?
Yeah, thanks a lot. I think this is really insightful, just like Claire mentioned. I think it's really positive to see that on a grassroots level, there's a lot of primary schools really actively engaged. So that was really positive to see. I was just comparing it to secondary school in comparison. I was just trying to understand. So it was really good to hear from Lucy that there's a lot of other schools, you talk about Rokeby and everybody else getting involved now, some really good practice. What's the challenge with secondary schools? I was just trying to get a bit of understanding around it. And how do we, good question. You mentioned just before around funding provision and so forth. Is there a scope of how we activate that more? Just a question of what could be done, or is there difficulties or barriers that you've experienced along the way?
The problem is, I mean, Lucy's been out to schools, I've been out to schools. We've tried to go out to people, haven't we, Lucy? And, you know, we've invited people, we give people free, come to the meetings for free, see the high quality of them, you know, so we're not expecting anybody to come to an unknown and pay for it. We offer like free come. But actually what we're asking for them, they don't really run at cost. They run at loss.
Sure.
Because the time it takes to put things together, and we have really excellent meetings. So I think some of it is because there's a problem with RE recruitment in secondary. So we've got a lot of non-specialists teaching the subject, and they've got a main other subject.
Okay.
So their specialism is in another subject. And actually they've got all that prep and all that they're keeping up with, and they don't then want to go to a second lot of training. I think maternity leaves come into this, busyness. We record the meetings, and I think that's why we looked back on it and thought, actually, yes, we need to say who's looking at those recordings, because I can go down that secondary list and I know there's a whole load of people that have done the recordings but never physically got to the meeting. Sarah will say, we tried, we didn't do this with RE, but for PSHE, we tried to do an in-person meeting to start off the year, sort of from 3 till 5. So it didn't involve an awful lot of cover for a school. Basically, we couldn't get anybody there really, could we, Sarah?
I think also budget-wise at the moment in schools, speaking from my own experiences, we're having to rein in what we can actually afford in terms of allowing staff release to attend certain things, because schools are pressured financially. But saying that, I attended the first RE Network meeting of the year, this academic year, and the recording that we did around the training was excellent. So I think absolutely tracking the access of the training through the recording is the right way to go. And also maybe, I know Lucy's doing this anyway, but looking at the evaluations of how people are actually using that training, because I know from our perspective, it's a really useful tool to use in a department meeting, for example. So there is some really good quality stuff there. It's just knowing exactly how it's being accessed and how it's being used.
Jane, did you?
Yes, I was just wondering what the correlation was between GCSE results in RE and attendance here. And what made me think of it was that I'm sure I read somewhere, didn't I, that St. Bonn's had very good results and high levels. So is it because they're accessing the training? Do they just have good teachers, well-trained teachers there? I just wondered.
Yes, well, yeah, it doesn't come off very well because our schools that do very well, Plashet, who are totally, you know, in on everything.
Yeah.
Brampton, who don't ever come to anything, but usually pick the best results.
Yeah.
But they've got a big team of dedicated RE teachers.
That's what yes, that's what I'm wondering.
Same at St. Bonn's, they've got a big team of dedicated, they haven't got people with other specialisms teaching at GCSE. Now, we keep in touch with all of those people, and we often, so everybody gets our RE newsletter. So one of the things that we do, as you know, every term is this big, long, usually 8 sides of A4 newsletter. But actually that props up a lot of schools because we know they can't afford the CPD, potentially. And so the reason we do the newsletter for free for everybody is actually it's giving them the good stuff. And I think what Sarah's saying is true. So we had a masterclass this time on Sunni and Shia Islam. And I know already 3 departments have used that sort of 40-minute recording as something they've used in a meeting with their wider staff. And then talking about, right, what have we learned from it? How does this affect our lessons? But you've just got to get them there. You've got to get somebody there. Or the problem is with the recording is getting them to watch it. So I don't know, people can ask for the recording, but I don't know if they've watched it. So look, I can add that. Go on, Sarah.
I don't know how you would do this, and you would need to talk to someone more technologically savvy than me. But I receive emails, particularly from recruitment agencies, for example, where in order to access a CV, I have to put my email in, and that then tells them that I've accessed it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I know at my work on our website, everything is tracked, like how long people spend on like individual IP addresses, how long people spend looking at a page. Is it focused attention? Is it not? I mean, there's loads of tools out there, but I guess it's just how we.
She's got her hand up as well.
To privacy.
I was just going to say, hopefully I think if we're able to build deeper relationships with some of these other secondary schools with the Student RE Matters, that might hopefully help us get more people at the network meetings when they're happening. I think echo what Sarah said, that there is this economic budget pressure on schools. I think if we had all the money in the world, like, you know, the miracle solution, if we could pay for people to be out for an afternoon to have the meeting, we'd have every school in Newham there. But I think our issue is, particularly with the secondary, it's just we had to put it at that time to get anyone to attend, because people couldn't get the cover to get out to go to a meeting during the day. But in doing that, it's kind of like a double-edged sword. It's become more difficult for people to attend, because then they have to take time out of their personal life to do that, and there's everything else that's happening, and after school meetings and all of those things. So it's quite a hard thing to come up with a solution to, but I think the recordings are a really good way, exactly what you've said, of getting people to access that learning and getting it to reach a wider audience. So hopefully that's one kind of almost like an easy win that we can do that doesn't really involve kind of a lot of labour for people or schools. It doesn't involve any extra cover. It doesn't involve paying for people to go out somewhere, but it hopefully means that learning that is in those meetings, particularly the masterclasses, are shared with a kind of wider audience to increase the expertise of more teachers in Newham.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, everyone. Let's move on then, shall we, to the we're up to the NASACRE annual conference.
Just to let you know, I think SAQAT may have issued a payment for this. So SAQAT, is this now real? But we've got Stratford Town Hall, there he is, Stratford Town Hall on the 19th of May for the NASACRE conference. If you want to come for the day, let me know, because you can be one of my helpers putting on the conference. It won't cost us. Obviously we'll have a couple of paid delegates there as normal, but it's on our doorstep. So not quite on Ruth's doorstep, but still, there's a potential of a fast train in, yeah. So yeah, it's at our town hall. And because I'm booking it via my role in the council, we've got a much cheaper price for the conference, which is really exciting. But only if SAQAT pays the invoice in the next couple of days.
Yes, just on that, and thank you, Claire, for arranging that. So I mean, we got a discount because of Claire, so that makes it good. And as per the NASACRE meeting, actually we are hosting the NASACRE conference this year as a Newham SACRE. So that's a very good achievement for us. I mean, to do that as well. And like me and Claire will have more updates. I mean further. And we was thinking of inviting like one of our local MPs to this SACRE, because Stephen Timms, again, like, you know, that will be something in the pipeline. I mean, yet to be confirmed. Claire. So, but one thing, Claire, I mean, so
Newham flavour.
Just regarding this payment, are we paying it just one off upfront? Is that what it is?
One off, yeah. To get the
Yeah.
special deal, we just have to pay a one-off.
Okay.
But we can cancel with up to 1 calendar month
Okay.
and
Excellent.
get a total refund. We don't get a total refund if we're cancelling after a month, but we're not going to cancel, so it'll be fine.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Thank
So
you. for that.
thank you, Newham Council, for the discounted rate.
Did you say May the 19th?
Monday, May the 19th. But anybody who can be free that day, please let me know, because I'd love to make use of you.
Is it that day?
It's basically, it will start at about 10:30, 11. I'll be in from about 7:30 setting up, no doubt, but it will start at about 10:30, 11, and it usually finishes by 3:30.
Thanks.
Right.
We've got to find caterers, and we've got to find people to do all the IT and the audio and stuff. So if anybody knows anybody in the area that they would recommend, let me know. That's my next job, is to find those things.
Wait, how many attendees would that be?
What, for the national conference? We can go up to 300. Usually the conference is about 120 people, but we've got a bigger arena this year, so it'll be interesting. We couldn't get all the SACREs in who wanted to come last year, so that was the idea of going to a bigger room where we could get more people.
Yeah, because that's grown from downward.
Thanks. Then agenda item 9, it's place of worship plans. It says pages 13 to 22 here, but I don't know if those quite relate.
So what you've got on page 13 is just some updates on things that I thought were interesting in the news. A couple of those around, as you saw, St. Bonds. And we have got some new places of worship posters. I said didn't make it into the pack, so I don't know whether they existed as a separate thing. If not, I can send them. That's fine. We've got new posters.
Okay, great.
I'll send an email. I'll send you all the posters.
Calling on the next place of worship competition.
Yeah, we handed them all out at the network meetings and have put them in the post, and they're all going on.
Excellent. Right, okay, then we'll move on to the annual self-evaluation kit and actions.
Yes, so I wanted to do this before we got to the draft priorities, because I thought there might be things that come up from the toolkit to that. So I know Kishore's here now. And Alicia's here now, that see all these names on the side there. Are people who are here but with their cameras off, are you able to, I can put you into a breakout room in order for us to do different sections? Hi, Alicia. Is everybody okay to do that? So if you can put your camera on, if you're happy to go into a breakout room and work on a section, then we could probably knock off a section here and then we'll see. Okay, so we could have, Pauline, if I come and do the breakout room.
Rooms though, if you tell me who to put into what room.
Yeah, I'll tell you. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
A room, I've done 4 rooms, is that enough?
3 rooms, I would say.
Okay.
How many
Be the
sections?
room here.
Oh, well, there's 4 sections. So.
Okay, so if we do section 1 in here, and then if we have Keith, Ruth, Everett, and Sequat to do section 2.
Yeah.
And then if we have Chetna, Alicia, and Marie to do section 3. And then if we have Asma, Kishore, and Izan to do section 4, and we'll do section 5, or we might do that all together.
I've got now.
Are you still there? Are you happy to go into a room?
I'll put them into 3.
Yeah.
And Jill Duncan.
Yeah.
And I've got
whatever room you like.
Would Jill wants to come in with me, please?
Okay, if Jill can go in with Ruth. Ruth is in room 1. Room 1, aren't you, Ruth?
Yeah, thank you.
I've got actor Ralph left.
Axel in room 3. Marvellous. So we'll open the rooms and we'll have, should we have 10 minutes in our room?
So I've got Samantha Forbes now. Where do you want Samantha Forbes? Room 2?
Samantha.
Hi, I'm just shadowing you.
Oh, that's it. I remember now.
Oh, yeah, yes, of course, from St Helens.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I was like, Samantha, we haven't got anybody on our sacre. That's it. Samantha's just started. We should have welcomed you at the start. I'm so sorry, Sam. She just started as a new chair in another sacre in St Helens. And so she asked if she could come and watch one of our sacre meetings.
Oh, lovely.
So, hi, Sam. So put Sam in room 1. That's fine. Great.
Room 1.
Is everyone sorted now?
That should be everybody. So I'm going
Okay.
to the room.
So you're going to have 10 minutes. We'll come back at 7:40. 7:40? We'll close the rooms at 7:38. That will give everybody time to come back with it.
Okay. Open all rooms.
Thank you, everyone. And we'll pause our recording, I think, now. Once they're open. Or do we just turn off our mics and we carry on with the recording?
I'll turn off the mics.
And then we can probably
we back in the main meeting?
Mute.
Yes, sorry, we're just.
Oh, we're back.
Our video. Can you hear us?
Yes, we can hear you.
And you can see us.
Yes, and we can see you as well.
Thank you.
Hopefully someone in each group got the instruction to just prepare some notes on what you discussed and the outcome. And then I think the most efficient would be if those were sent to Pauline, or maybe even put that, or sent to Claire, and Claire can forward them to Pauline if you don't know.
Yeah, so you might have filled in the form. If you filled in the form, just send that to Pauline, say which group you were. Yeah.
And then section 5, did you want a broader discussion? We did look at it in our group.
Well, I think we just need to go through each thing and say overall if there were any could do even better points. And then
Okay, yeah.
I think that's our feedback from this activity, really.
Yep.
I mean, we can say with group, we looked at area 1, management of SACRE in partnership with the LA and other key stakeholders. And basically we put ourselves advanced in all of the areas, but we did have a couple of even better ifs. So we were thinking that it's a while since we had a lead officer from the LA as part of SACRE, and we thought that would be great. Maybe talking to the LA and thinking strategically about doing something every other year rather than once every 5 years around the agreed syllabus. So it's free for every school. So that could be something that within my 2 days a week, we look to put something in. So those were 2 things that we thought that could be developed.
Yes. And would someone willing from the group looking at section 2, just to give quick update?
I've got a couple of EBIs from us. Overall, we said that we were advanced in terms of our section was all about teaching and learning and achievement in religious education. We said that we were advanced. Our even better if, though, has already been touched upon in this meeting. So there is a section around LA support to promote pupil entitlement and making sure that models for fulfilling pupil entitlement within local schools are shared with all schools, so they have a menu from which to adapt an approach that meets the needs of specific priorities of their schools. So we were just talking about access to training again, and kind of echoing the conversation that we've just had, and that offer that comes from the LA in terms of that sort of thing. What is the provision for schools that don't put their hand in their pocket and join RE Matters from the LA? So we were just looking for a little bit more clarity on that. And we said that we have lots of the RE monitoring form, the GCSE results, the access to the RE quality mark. Claire, you accessing the head teachers update, the newsletter that goes to all subject leads, all of that was really useful in evidencing all the sections. We just said that we would like more exposure to schools that have not adopted the agreed syllabus and perhaps what their curriculums might look like.
There's only one, and that's Oasis Academy, and that's because Blaylock wrote their national RE syllabus.
Yeah.
Everybody else is using us.
Perfect.
Right. Thank you, Sarah. And the group were working their way through section 3. Anybody willing to give an update from that group? No. The effectiveness of the locally agreed syllabus.
23.
I think we were doing that, but I think we messed up. I thought we were doing 2.
Oh, right.
I'm
this has happened
just
before,
going to
actually.
take the ownership. I think we thought it was 2. Me and Mary Hardy.
It's
And
because you were in room 2, you then thought you were doing 2,
Yeah.
whereas room 2 was doing 3. Don't worry. Okay. Don't worry.
Sorry.
All right. Then can we move on to section 4 then, please, which was on collective worship.
Yep. So we did the area on collective worship. So essentially, across the conversation that we had, we put it at established for all 3 of the sections, 4A, 4B, and 4C. The general discussion was around the idea that we have a kind of good sense of what's going on in terms of collective worship at primary level, but secondary level, not necessarily as much. So we felt that means that we probably need to sit somewhere at the established level. Obviously happy to kind of hear any more comments that might be to the otherwise. But
I'm going to challenge you, group 3. I'm going to challenge you because we have the data of what every secondary school is doing in our annual report.
Yep. I mean, to be fair, I won't necessarily take any ownership over where the where we put ourselves. More of kind of a group thought. Kishore, Asma, did you have any thoughts that you wanted to come in on this?
Yeah, I think we know that we, like, when we were looking at the primary schools, we said we were on advanced, definitely. For secondary school, we're not saying, probably it's our lack of awareness then, what is the provision, because we believe that we are doing a lot, but we're not sure. This is where we think. But you saying that,
But this is good, isn't it?
Data.
It's good and helpful.
Yeah.
Because it's also maybe one of the things we've got to do next year before we do this activity. Maybe we've got to have, and this is a good point for Pauline or whoever's, we need to have, and for me to remember as an action point, we need to make sure you've all got the annual report in front of you, because then you could go to the collective worship section and that would tell you. So we had every school report back to us, and it will show you how many of the secondary schools think they're outstanding and how many think they're good and how many required improvement. And then maybe we've also got to share the minutes, because in February, then you asked me to offer training to all those that wanted to get better or had admitted that they need, and Lucy and I have done that. So it's that loop, isn't it? Of
we have no
remembering
doubt.
what we've
We
done.
have no doubt, because the provision in primary school we know is the high standard, because we are there. Like, myself, I am in school and I know I work with you and I know how schools are doing it by working for, for the CPD, and I've always attended when I was RE coordinator, and I know it worked really well. And we put time and in place and monitored, so we know that the provision there is excellent. So again, as you said, that maybe if we know, so by looking at that data, we can see that this is obviously it's the same. So we would mark ourselves in advance then for overall.
I do think there's a point, and it may be that you're coming onto it, Azan, in sort of 4B. It came up, Ellen brought it up as well in our area, that we had a time as Sacre where we often went in and watched acts of collective worship in schools, and really since COVID we haven't done that at all. And so maybe that's an even better if in this area, that we need to think about you having an experience. And actually collective worship can be done virtually as well. I was at one yesterday, Monday, and they had me on a laptop at the side of the hall, And I watched, Azan was in the room with me actually when I was watching it, wasn't it, Azan? And so I went and attended a collective worship act for 15 minutes. Now, this was in a Camden school. And for me, to get to that school would have been 1 hour and 20 minutes. And to get back would have been 1 hour and 20 minutes. For a 15-minute activity, that didn't seem a good use of my day. But it worked brilliantly. And I think we can probably even be creative. We don't need to necessarily go in physically.
I mean, we've talked about this before, Claire, about the need to try and get into more schools, either in person or virtually. So I think that will probably be counted as a point for Even Better If, because it will give us more of that hands-on experience.
Yeah.
In schools that I was talking about.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I actually raised this point, Claire, because we get a lot of requests for primary schools to come to visit our temple, but we haven't got any secondary schools saying, can we come and see your temple?
Yeah, they won't be able to get out, Kishore, because remember, they've got a 40-minute or a 50-minute lesson, and they've got to be able to get somewhere, do something and get back, because you can't get out of the next following lesson, which is why going in virtually is the way that visitors happen, or visitors going into school happen at secondary. You'll never get them out.
No, that's fine. And these are the things that we've been talking about and saying from where we stand, we think we can do a bit more, but you're already doing it, but we don't get to see it. Yeah. The things you're saying, it all makes sense. So yeah, perfect.
So Claire, should we go quickly through 5 and then maybe as a group go back onto 2?
Well, we can say we
Because we did quickly go through it.
we went through 5 and came out advanced in everything in 5. So that was an easy one.
Yeah.
So it's section 3, isn't it?
Oh, is it 3?
Section
Sorry,
3, yeah.
3 was one we haven't done.
Which is the locally agreed syllabus. So does everyone want to turn to 3A?
Yeah.
I mean, we've got a clear process. We're about to start again. I'm really sorry, everybody, but we published last in 2022, which means we next have to publish in 2027, which means in 2025, I've got to put all the budgeting in place and get it agreed for us then to do the 18 months of work before we launch in 2027. So, yeah. It's almost like Christmas. As soon as you've packed it away, it comes back. So, but it's good that these things are looked at, and it's not that we're starting from nothing. It's about reviewing and improving, isn't it? And what we're learning all the time. But yeah, I would say we're advanced in that because we're not behind any of our publishing dates.
Yeah, and monitoring is very good as well.
Yes, and actually we know what teachers and one of the things we've never done, but we might want to do, is we might want to ask pupils and do a pupil survey about RE. We've never done that before. We've only ever done teacher surveys. So I was thinking about that the other day, actually, that we probably needed some pupil voice. So that's because I think we've got lots of positives that pupils would say, but it would also be good to know the negatives as well. I think launching, we're advanced, it's always well. And the fact that we have always had such a wide membership of the Agreed Syllabus Conference, and we've had all those different people that have come to the faith group meetings to look at what we're doing and to think about, are we doing the right thing? Apart from we had 35 teachers involved for 8 months. So I think we're definitely advanced on that.
I think I like the set out clear expectations on the role of the LA before, but you're very good at that, Claire, when you tell them what you get for what they pay for.
Yeah.
And so they know.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They know it to the penny.
Yes.
Ben's got a hand up.
Who's got their hand up?
Hi, Claire. I was just wondering, you said about pupils' voice. Sometimes the coordinators, the RE coordinators or whoever is the coordinator, they do pupils' voice. So if we can get them to send it to you or something like that, that might help.
Yeah.
In the other way, maybe.
What I'd quite like to do is a Google form where all that comes in. We did it last year for PSHE on RSHE, and we had questions for primary and secondary. So the schools could find out their pupil voice, but then it all fed into my national overall, or borough-wise, not national, what we found out from pupils. So we trialled it last year for RSHE. I think we could do a similar thing for RE, and I think that would be really powerful. Thank you, Chetna. You're right.
Good. Well, I think that finishes the self-evaluation. Another strong result. Yes, it comes around very quickly. So then on to agenda item 11, the SACRE priorities. Yeah.
I don't think we need to look through it, but I think where I put 7 question marks, I think we need to pick out some of those points. So I might put something in there about agreed syllabus and a pupil survey. I think SACRE into schools, opportunities. Sarah, you said something as well. Oh yeah, the training, LA training for all schools. I don't want really more than 10 priorities. It's a bit hard to manage everybody, but.
Yeah, we said that opportunities were great if you were a paid up member of RE Matters.
Yeah.
But for those schools that weren't, the LA wasn't particularly necessarily offering anything equivalent, if that makes sense. I think you said earlier, didn't you, once every 3 years or something? You can have a training course.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, I've added those things. I'll adapt it.
I see Chetna's hand up. Is that the up from before, Chetna, or is
You
it?
can see hands. Yeah.
Okay, great. All right. Thanks very much on that. There's only one item of other business, which is on this Education Scrutiny Commission. I'm looking at you, Claire.
I mean, this is a letter that has come to us as SACRE, seeing if we would like to
You used to have one,
put somebody forward.
because I'm on it,
I see. I see.
and we used to,
This is the revolving co-opted.
willing to be on there.
I see.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So, and is this is what is it, a 1 year mission, or is it something that is an ongoing?
It's sort of on goes, but you can see what the LA have done is that they've written to the Diocese of Brentwood because it's for a Roman Catholic representative. So our Roman Catholic representative is Dr. Stephen Saxby, who gave his apologies for being here tonight. So it could be that what we want to do is ask in the minutes, is Stephen, would he be prepared to be? And then a bit like Ellen is a rep, but also here, it could be the same person, but ultimately it's up to the Brentwood Diocese. But it's just so you know that what the LA is doing to seek to find somebody.
Okay.
If we know of somebody within Newham that could do it, basically that's why they've put it in. Is
They've been without for an awful long time.
So Ellen remains a SACRE rep, but
Church of England rep. She's Church of England rep on there, but they're looking for a Roman Catholic rep.
Oh, right.
So we're wondering, would Stephen be prepared? He's our SACRE Roman Catholic rep. So that letter has gone officially to Chancellor Brentwood Diocese.
All right. Thank you.
We can't ask Stephen because he's not here.
But you will.
Then final item on the agenda is the date of the next meeting. Looks like we've got a tentative 12th of March written down on the agenda. Yes.
Is that okay for everybody?
March could be clear the chair. I mean, it could be the Ramadan could be during that time.
Yes, is Actor still with us?
Yes.
Asma.
Oh, sorry.
I know Ramadan starts earlier this year, doesn't it?
That's right. Yeah, I
I've
think
got
it starts.
written.
I think it starts at the beginning of the March and ends end of March.
So Sukwat,
Oh, yeah.
does the 12th of March work or not work?
If it's evening, it doesn't work because like it's the opening of the fast.
So I think what we'll have to say then is we've got to try and set a date probably in February then rather than in March.
Yeah, February or April. April is going to be Easter and things like that. So I mean, February probably will work better.
Yeah. So, Pauline, maybe it's worth looking at the 26th of February or
And I'm looking at Ramadan starts on the 3rd of March.
1st of March. 1st of March.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1st of March.
So you're looking at February.
Or it could be the 12th of February, something like that, 26th or the 12th.
Is there a half term in February or something?
Yeah, that's why I've missed out
Alright,
that week
right.
in between.
Okay.
Yeah.
So February, I've got Mayor Shivrati.
So that sounds like a Hindu festival.
So that's it. Yeah.
If Kishore is fine and Chetna's fine, then we're okay.
So
Shivrat-
was what date would you say Shivratri? Yeah, is one of the Hindu festivals.
26th of February.
Yeah, Shivratri happens at night, so we would need that time.
So the 12th of February.
Yeah, seems okay.
It's like the 12th then.
And is it 7 p.m. your preferred?
Well, we've tried something new tonight, going for 6:30 to 8 rather than 7 to 8:30. What would people prefer?
I prefer this one, sorry.
This time.
Yeah,
Yeah, 6:30.
Yeah.
Okay, there we are.
Fine.
30 to 8 done.
Took me a little bit by surprise, but I'll be ready next time.
Afterwards, Bobby.
Lovely. Thank you.
All right. There we go.
Did we say
Right.
February?
Yes, so it was the 12th of February instead of 12th of March. The 12th of March was the suggested date, but we're going a month earlier.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, well, I think at that point, thank you everybody for attending.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you all. Have a lovely evening.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Good night.